to show you how to edit a picture. First, I'm going to find the picture that I want. I'm just going to go to Google Images and find a nice picture. Make sure your search tool is on large, because then you could scale it however size you want in Photoshop. And so this picture is a little low resolution, so I'm going to drag it to the top, and then I can click on it and it gives me many options for different resolutions. So this one is obviously the best one. So I'm just going to drag this right here to my desktop. And then after I'm done here, so I'm going to open Photoshop. Okay. Once here, I'm going to go to File. Sorry, not that. I'm going to go to File, Open. And there it is. I'm just going to click Open. And now here it is in Photoshop. Okay. Once you're here, you can rotate it or to your preference. So just for my preference, I'd like the bench to be on the left side, so I'm going to do flip canvas horizontal. It gives you more of a leading away effect from down here to up there. Okay, now I'm going to unlock my layer and then go to bottom at FX. This gives me all these blending options. So a theme we can go for this picture is sort of a darker theme, maybe foggy. So first I can go to gradient overlay, and right now it's on that pattern. It could go on that pattern, that pattern, that pattern. But for the theme I'm going with, which is dark, I'm going to click on the black and white one. And the opacity, you can raise it really high or really low. But that's just the right amount. Okay, after this, I'm going to go to satin. And as you see, this just makes it darker or lighter. And you can click on a different color if you like. But I'm just going to stay with black. And I'm going to make the opacity pretty low because I already have the gradient overlay. But satin can still give it a subtle difference. Okay, after you're done, you can go to bevel and emboss, and it has two little things that go with it, which is contour and texture. Okay, for texture, as you can see, it makes the tiniest little grains on the paper. And this sort of distracts from the smooth theme we already have going on. So I'm just going to lower the scale and just have this subtle texture. Okay, and then in contour, basically it doesn't really do that much difference for what we have going on here. Okay, now I think I'm done editing my picture, so I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to go to this half circle here. If you click on it, you have all these other things that can edit your layer. First, I'm going to click on exposure. Exposure brightens all the colors that are already bright, and then if you have low exposure, it darkens everything that's already dark. For me, I'm just going to add the tiniest bit of exposure because we don't want to get too bright and off track of our theme. Now for offset, as you can see, it sort of adds like a opaque white filter over it, or just really darkens it. So for offset, I'm just going to lower it a little. As you can see now, the edges are much darker, so it adds a nice contrast between the bottom and the top. Now for gamma correction, it does almost the same thing as offset, except in a different way. For gamma correction, I still want it to be darker, so So I'm not going to change it that much. I think, there we go. Okay, when you're done with that, you can also go back to this half circle and go to brightness and contrast. Here you can heighten the brightness or lower. And you see the brightness just makes it brighter, the color is more vibrant. And yeah, so again, we have that dark green, so I'm just gonna heighten the brightness a little. For contrast, it really heightens the colors. And I'm just gonna heighten that a little. So as you can see, we still have that major contrast between the bottom and the top. Okay. Now I know that, I can add something else to create more of a theme in my photo. We go to the text. I'm just going to write a simple word, nature. And so once here, I'm just going to go to my little color box and I'm going to use the eyedropper, which allows me to select any color in the picture. So I cannot lose track from the theme. So I think I'm just going to pick this dark green right here. And now I just want to make sure it's all smooth and not so it's really subtle. And italic, we don't want bold because then it stands out too much. Okay, now that that's out, I'm just going to drag it to the lightest spot so you can really see the contrast shown at the bottom, up here at the top. I'm going to press Command T and Shift and just scale it a little larger. Okay. Now I'm going to edit my text. I'm going to go to FX, blending options. Okay, first I'm going to go to stroke. This basically makes it opaque. And again, of course we want that. We don't want it to be too opaque because we still want to notice it, not that much. So the opacity basically just makes it darker, thicker, thinner. I'm just going to keep it right here. Okay, after I'm going to go to not inner shadow, but inner glow. And here, I really don't want that much because I don't want to lose the text, but I still don't want the text to stand out too much. So I'm just going to raise the noise a little, which adds a little green texture to it. And jitter also does the same thing, which you can't really tell. Okay, now I'm going to go to outer glow, which, see, it gives like a halo around it. But I really don't want it to be that prominent. So I'm going to lower that dramatically. And I'm going to see the noise is basically the same thing as jitter. And yeah, so that's for that is good. And now I'm going to go to drop shadow, which really, it makes it look more 3D. And so the opacity is good. The distance is good. Yeah, so basically it just looks a little more 3D and stands out more. Okay. That's all I'm going to do for my text. And now I can go back to my first layer, which is layer 0, and see this bench. It sort of distracts from the theme here. So I'm going to go to the stamp tool. If I press Option and then select, basically like right here, and then I can go over it like that. So this covers up the bench and makes it look like it's just more water. Okay. Now you definitely have a darker theme and exaggerate more how there's nobody there, it's undisturbed. Okay. This is we're basically done for this image. It's at where we want it to be. And now you're going to want to save it in PSD, of course, but you also want to save it as JPEG. So then you can view it in its final form. So go here. There's a picture. Okay. Thank you for listening and learning how to simply edit a picture in Photoshop with filters and effects and other things. I'll see you next week. Bye.